What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kind of Funny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside Nick Scarpino, Tim Gettys, Andy Cortez, and our guest, my Italian meatball, Brian Altano. Hello, Brian.
How good to see you all. How many Pikmin did you guys kill for that theme song? That it sounds entirely like a bunch of Pikmin are getting murdered.
You know, it's actually Animal Crossing sound effects. Thank you very much. You were in the right realm of the Nintendo
fans. Close enough.
But yeah,
you hate to see it fall from grace like that. You know what I mean? It used to be Mr. Nintendo. Now he doesn't know anything.
That's it. Who is that Mario man? Yeah, it's good to see you guys. I miss you all. It's fucking great to hop on and say hello.
Brian is both an Italian and a Nintendo fan. How have you been celebrating Mario Day?
Oh God, it's been insane. I woke up this morning just covered in lasagna, as I usually do. But that's like Wednesday for me. And then I went downstairs. I did what I always do. I made a 6-hour sauce. Obviously, Nick, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Mine's still going. I got a little late start, so it's not gonna be ready till 3 days from now.
You got to go up there every now and then, stick a whole finger, like the guy with the plum pie or whatever, and then and then you walk out, and then just playing Mario. You know, checking out the Mario games.
Getting a taste. Just showing what's up with the
Mario games.
Have they been making new ones? Are there any new ones?
Yeah,
now?
they got some new ones now. It's crazy. His knees are bad, but he's still there. He's still working.
What do you think the origin of this being Mario Day was? Like, obviously, I know how they got there, March 10th, but who the hell thought that? Like, who looked at the date and thought the first 3 letters of this month and the number that it is kind of looks like Mario. It's fucking Mario Day.
I can't even fathom that, honestly. Like, I don't even know what day on the calendar it is most days, let alone like enough to have stared at it long enough to be clever about it. Like, I'm most days I'm like, oh, what is today? The 18th, the 40th, it's Tuesday. I don't even care. And these people are like, oh, it's Mario. I'm like, what?
We know that it's the anniversary, right? It's the anniversary of Mario in March. We know that.
Yeah.
Right, because it's 35th anniversary, whole thing. You know what? Fuck it. When did Mario 1 come out?
So that was like
March 10th.
Yeah, that was a big thing a couple years ago, is that nobody could really.
I think it was like March 30th.
Yeah, it was like people were trying to figure out the exact day the game went on sale, because back then it was just weird.
That's right.
I think, they sold the first game from like the back of a truck by accident or something.
Yeah.
Like, was this our launch party?
September 13th, 1985 is in Japan, what Wikipedia is saying, and then just late 1985 in North America. There is no date. That's really funny.
They didn't have calendars back then. It was a different time.
It was crazy. We had no idea what month or day it was. We just kind of went by where the sun was in the sky.
At the sun.
It's
80s,
June.
baby.
I think a fan just came up with March 10th, honestly. I gotta assume that.
It's how like May the 4th became Star Wars Day, right?
Yeah.
Where, like, Star Wars didn't come out on May 4th,
Day.
but whatever.
Probably N7 Day. That must have started it, right? Because I remember that was like the first thing
N7?
for a
Is that
while
November
where they were
7th?
running with the Mass Effect deal of N7 Day, and like you knew November 7th something was going to happen. It used to be exciting. Now it's just sucks, Andy. But like back in the day, it used to be exciting. They did stuff. I'm sure Nintendo saw that and was just like, oh, I got to do this. We got it. We had Year Luigi. That's how much more can we disrespect this man? Oh, we'll give Mario an annual thing.
How much more can we suffer? I love the Year Luigi was great. It was like, I believe it was their worst financial
That is correct.
year in company history, which is so fucking funny.
Luigi.
Just like they dedicated to him, and they're just like bleeding money. It was not his fault,
Wasn't it?
If
It's
y'all
his
give
fault.
me,
It's
if
100%
y'all
his
give
fault.
me the chance, while you all, and I say you all, while you all record this podcast, I'd like to just kind of step back into the shadows and discover what days we can celebrate throughout the year.
Andy, do I have the show for you?
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Doesn't exist anymore, but for a while, KFAF was real good at this thing where they would just celebrate random days for no
Real
reason.
hard to do.
Altano, my favorite thing is, and okay, you know what? This all starts at Up at Noon, right? There's these meetings where many chuckleheads in this group would get together and be like, well, what the fuck do we do this week? Look at a calendar and be like, well, I guess it's National Pizza Day. We're doing something about pizza. That translated over to KFAF where they did the same thing. But it got to the point now that there'll be pictures of Andy and Nick pantsless eating ice cream going around or whatever the hell the donuts. Excuse me.
Right.
And Nick will have to question, like, why did we do that? Like, I don't even remember what the point was. And then we look it up and like, oh, it was National Pantsless Day and National Donuts Day. And it's like,
Same day.
obviously,
mix
that's
and
why that happened.
I love that because
Synergy.
I was on a podcast recently talking about how many times those fictitious holidays overlap in a negative way. Like they'll be like, it's soup day and running day, and you're like, what? Like that's fucking disgusting.
Well, National Pantsless Day and Donut Day go very well together. I can tell you right now.
Yeah, sure.
Get some donuts, go home, take your pants off, eat the donuts. There's nothing better than on a Tuesday than that activity.
I'm glad that's how you combine those things. Personally.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not trying to.
Whoa! This is huge. This is no coincidence. I mean, in the same week, like obviously today we are celebrating Mario Day, March 10th. Yesterday, National Meatball Day.
Oh, that's just kind of
2 ships passing in the night. Look
Yeah.
at that.
yeah.
And then yesterday was also
Tomorrow's garlic bread day.
Yesterday was also National Barbie Day. Today is along with Mario Day, is National No Smoking Day, National Pack Your Lunch. So Kevin, no smoking, all right, Kevin? No smoking.
Pack your lunch.
And then National Ranch Day.
Okay, yeah, but fuck you, because tomorrow is National Oatmeal Nut Waffles Day.
What?
That's too many words.
You just made that up.
No. That's too
Did you make that up?
Hey, according to holidayscalendar.com, it's classified under the weird holiday type. But
I'm not
to be
seeing
fair,
that.
so is Mario Day.
Tim, I'm not
Classified as
seeing
weird.
that. All I'm seeing today is, or for tomorrow, is National Funeral Director and Mortician Recognition Day.
So I'm seeing that, but I'm also seeing World
bring
Kidney
him some
Day.
waffles because he's had a
Some
tough
oatmeal nut waffles. Yes,
Oatmeal
that's
nut
what the
waffles.
mortician needs.
And my favorite one is the National Worship of Tools Day. The word worship there.
That's KF Day. That's kind of funny day.
Yeah, that is kind of funny day.
That's a day dedicated to our patrons.
When everyone gets those tools what they want. I think they're worshiping us, Greg. We're the tools.
We're the tools.
We're the
No, I
tools
know
in
that's
this
what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah, we're the tools.
it's the day they celebrate because they worship us. Yeah,
National
we're,
Wait,
we're
hold
the
on.
tools.
Yeah,
Who's
we're the
the
tools.
tools though in this scenario?
We are the
Yes,
tools.
we are the tools.
You know what I mean?
We're
We are the
tools.
tool bag.
And not and Andy, when I say, for clarification, when I say we are the tools, I don't mean like the band Tool, which is cool. I mean like Tool in the most insulting way possible.
Yeah.
I just want you guys to understand that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
like
actually-
an Allen wrench that has no use whatsoever. It's so small. You're like,
I
this
thought
has
you meant
no
like
use.
when somebody calls somebody a tool, which is like
I thought you were talking about a person. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I mean, isn't that the connotation when they call someone a tool?
You
You're a
fucking
big
tool,
dumb
you know?
blunt object that doesn't have a
yeah,
use.
but that's a weird one because I feel like if there's like a Venn diagram of like sort of like a funny thing to say about somebody and a pure evil thing to say about somebody, like Tool is kind of in the middle, leaning towards evil.
Sure.
Like you'd be like, look at this fucking Tool. Like you wouldn't
Yeah.
be like, I hope this guy dies. Like that's not, you know, like you don't.
Oh
want to,
no,
like,
it's like calling someone a douche, or I mean, I like to
Yeah.
call people toolboxes every once in a while when I really
That's
want
a
to make
good
it like, when I want to make it formal. The formal tool is toolbox, you know, the Ustedes of tools.
It took us a while to get
It
there,
all
but
took a
we
while for
did.
the gears
We
to click in
did.
on that one. That was a good one, Nick. That was a good one.
Thank you.
That is highbrow
amazing.
humor here. Brian, as we sit here and compliment and go through our favorite insults on this barometer, how do you handle cursing and getting angry around your child? Do you try to censor yourself? Are you using when you want to say fucker, are you saying tool?
Yeah. No, I'm really, really bad at this. I'm super bad at this. It gets worse by the day. Like there was like a little while where I was trying to replace, like, instead of like goddamn or all fucking, I'd be like, you know, I've had a headache all ding dong day. I just kept saying that, but then I started just throwing the F word in with it too. And I'm like, now I just sound fucking insane. Like I'm like, I've had a headache all ding dong fucking day. Look at this fucking ding dong over here. I'm like, this is the opposite of where I should be heading. I'm trying to be I'm trying to be better about it. I hear my kid like will repeat. She's at the age now where she will just repeat anything I say. I'm like,
how old is she?
She's almost 3. She's like 2.5 now. So I'll be like, oh man, I have like, I don't know why I always have a headache in these scenarios. I got shithouse drunk last night and I have a hangover, something like that. And then she'll be like, shithouse drunk. I'm like, don't say any of those things. And then she'll be like, Dad, you need a beer. And I'm like, why do you even know what that is? Don't tell me those words. I don't want to hear that at all.
Also, go get me a beer. Like,
You know what, honey? That's a great idea.
It's a very long walk, but I remember being a little kid and watching Star Wars and being like, a thing I would use for the Force is like to get an object that's 5 feet away.
Always.
And you can do that for like a significant amount of time and, you know, a detrimental beatdown of pretty much every other aspect of your life if you have a kid. Like you can be like, can you go get me my shoes, or go get me a drink from over there? They'll do it, and slowly and cumbersomely, like you will use the force to bring it back to you. But then it costs like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And it smells horrible.
And every once in a while it poops up its back.
Yeah, that's fucking awful. I don't wish that on any of you.
It's so at what age do you think that'll stop, Brian? Where the
pooping
kids
up the
are
back? Never.
Never? Yeah, shit. I have.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
stopped.
I guess I'm sure all of you have had that happen at some point since 2, right? Like,
as an adult, yeah, I've actually, we've talked.
Like
we talked numerous times about pooping our pants on this podcast.
Yeah, just like one of those where you're like, well, that was not what I was expecting.
Yeah, that was special. I got the bonus plan on that one. Yeah,
it's always there to humble you.
You know, kids are such a funny thing. You know, we haven't been around too many people that have had these children things. But three is such a weird age. And the idea of Altano having a kid is as crazy to me as I imagine it is to many people out there. But now that she's getting to this age where she's talking and stuff, does she just like hang out with you and like talk to you like a real little person? Because like there's something about a little Altano woman that is small that is very funny to me.
Well, it's for me, it's the Instagram of like, you know, I know we did We Have Cool Friends not too long ago. We were still in the studio, so a long time ago, I guess, by those standards. But I remember talking about how you've matured and grown and how, you know, awesome it's been to see that. But like even looking in as you've matured on being a father and seeing the photos of you and your daughter and like her dressing up like you and stuff like that. It's so amazing.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I love every second of it. It's great. I took my kid to a pizza place in San Francisco like 14 months ago, and I was like, this is great. My wife went to go see her family on the East Coast for 2 days, and I was like, I'm gonna, you know, I'll take my kid to a restaurant, we'll sit down. And we sat down, we ordered pizza, and I'm like, so are you excited for pizza? And she's like, yeah. I was like, oh, that's right. We can't have a fucking conversation. You're like, yeah.
So what do you think of this whole? What do you think of this whole COVID-19 thing? I think it's not going to be that big of a deal.
You think that Pfizer shot's gonna get put through by the FDA pretty soon, or what's up?
So I was sitting there for like an hour and a half, and I was like, you like bread? She's like, yeah. I'm like, you want more milk? Like, yes. And now we go out, and I'm like, who do you think would win in a fight, a tiger or a dinosaur? And she's like, dinosaur. And I'm like, why? And she's like, he's purple. And I'm like, yeah, this is
now
logic.
we're podcasting.
Now it's like you talking to Scoville, you know what I mean?
Isn't that why people generally have the second kid, so they keep each other company and leave mommy and daddy alone for the most part? Yeah, I remember that was pretty much the only reason why I exist, because my brother, you've all met, is so outrageous, and he's always been that way. It's not like when he was a kid, he was like, yes, mother, I'm very reserved. He was always like bouncing off the walls. So I honestly think they got the old dog a new dog to play with, so he would just like the energy would just go somewhere else into the other corner of the room.
No, that's a perfect way to put. I've always said that, like, and if you, like with dogs, if you have one dog, like it thinks it's a person, but if you have two dogs, they become dogs.
They become
like
dogs, yeah.
They like one dog will just sort of like sit on the couch next to you and be okay, and then two dogs are just like, we're gonna eat ass all day. And
we're gonna smell and eat ass.
Oh my god!
What's your plan today?
Two dogs would
eat ass.
Yeah. Don't bring anyone home for Porty.
I was gonna say I do not need to. I'd rather him think he's a person than. Jeez Louise, that's outrageous. I don't want that.
Yeah, especially not. He's not now, right? He's like 30 years old. If you brought a second dog in now, no, cruel.
Jen and I have briefly talked about it, like when we first moved into the new place. So like, should we get another one? And it was that like no, he's gonna hate that.
Yeah.
Like, he's been the prince and now the king for so long, and then you bring in somebody else, he's gonna be like, what the hell? Let alone like, the puppy can't come in the bed, so you can't put Portillo in the bed. So there's all these other like little things you have to go through and change now. Like,
it's so funny because Portillo and my dog Moose at Altano's little bitch ass Pomeranian, they've only met once, and it was so funny because it was the most like, I don't even know the right word, but it was just like Portillo was just like, don't fuck with me. And Moose is just like, I ain't gonna fuck with you. I want to be with you. I respect the shit out of you. But it's like, we saw it all happen. It sounds like we're attributing these dogs, these personalities, but it's like, no, man, Portillo, he's just like, nope, I ain't doing this shit. Like, this is my motherfucking house. I love it.
Too old for this shit.
Yeah, totally.
He's earned that. I totally get that.
Everyone always does that, right? Though, because when you feel the one dog going, you want the overlap to help like soften the blow, but also just to have the camaraderie of having him or the dog in the house, right? But like I'll every single time I see it, there's always that tipping point where like the young puppy still has a ton of energy, and the old dog is just like, I'm gonna fucking murder everything in this house if I have to deal with this dog again. And like my brother's dog, my brother's eldest dog, they just had to unfortunately put down because he was just too far gone. But like, man, there were moments where I'd go look, and when the new dog was running around, he would just give it the look, like, you motherfucker. Like,
no, it's like
fucker.
when you're like renting an apartment and like your landlord's like, oh, we have some new tenants that want to check out the place before you guys go, and you're like, we're still here, get the fuck out.
I would have loved that in my old apartment though, because I would have been like, do not live here. This place is terrible and it's falling apart around you.
You were in that old place for like 100 years, right?
Yeah, we were there for a really long time. To the point where once we left mid-COVID, and the place was, because it was so mismanaged, and because obviously unfortunately, I think the only upside to COVID was that a lot of the real estate, like the rental market and stuff like that, started going down in San Francisco for the first time in fucking 2 decades. The units, it was 50% full. So they had 6 units in a 12-unit building that were empty. But those were empty almost prior to COVID. I think one or two of them were because people were like, oh, there's cheaper rent out there. But the building was so mismanaged and so old and just literally falling apart that everyone was just like, I gotta go for my own safety. I don't want the roof to fall on my freaking head.
Jesus.
But that's all of San Francisco, man. Like this city scares me a little bit. When you look around and you see like old architecture, when you see these giant buildings that were made in like 1920, you're like, I can't imagine that those are gonna survive a bigger earthquake. But I guess they already sort of have, so what are you gonna do?
I got a phone call like 3 years after I moved out of my first apartment in San Francisco, and it was from this guy, and he was like, hey, is this Brian? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, did you used to live on this street? And I was like, the fuck is this going? And he's like, do you have like a weird cough from the mold? And I was like, what? And he's like, we found a bunch of secret black mold in the back of the closets, but the landlord won't do anything. But landlord, are you sick? And I was like, I mean, I don't know.
How many arms have you grown?
Dude, I wonder about this all the time, because my old apartment had maybe every 6 months something would flood, something would just like the upstairs. I remember the guys put a garbage disposal in the upstairs unit. You're not supposed to do that in older pipes because they can't handle the sheer volume of stuff going through it, so they get stopped up. Also, they were pouring plasticil down it, so they were plastering things, and whatever was left over, they were pouring it down the drain. I don't know if you guys know this about plaster. It eventually hardens. So the idea behind that was, they were like, it's just, I don't know, overflow. Who the hell knows? I mean, I guess you could do it in other places, but I'll never forget one time, like our ceiling just started raining, and I was like, this is great. And that doesn't dry. Like if you don't bring in specialists to dry that shit out, you're gonna get mold. And so I just start thinking to myself, I'm like, this is how crazy my brain is. I'm like, what's going on with me? Is my hair falling out because of the black mold, or is that just genetic because I'm Italian? I don't know.
A bunch of us were, that'd be a really good thing to blame this on. A bunch of us worked together at E3 this one year where we stayed at, we called our like E3 things like the war room. We would all get together and like, do production there and writing and stuff like that. And we were in this one that was like a small film studio or photography studio.
It smelled like porn. Mm-hmm.
It smelled like porn. Well, there was that actually doesn't narrow it down, because that was like 5 or 6 of those. But there was one, and Tim, I don't know if you were there for this, but Greg and Nick.
Are you talking about the really small one that was like by the train tracks?
The really small one where, by the train tracks.
Yeah,
where there was a guy selling puppies out of a box in front of it. We were like, this is bad. Yeah, that seems bad. We were there for like 3 days, and the ceiling like exploded and was just like dumping water into the room while it was like 7:30 at night. Everybody was like writing and editing videos, and there was just like toilet water flowing into the room.
Ugh,
that's great.
Fucking horrible. Like that's the thing when people are like, I want to go to E3. I'm like, okay, well it's good, but
there are degrees. Which degree of E3? What circle of hell do you want to be on? Because it could be great, it could be terrible.
Mm-hmm. There are definitely parts of it. They're not as glamorous as like what you see on Twitch when you're live streaming the event.
That was definitely the low point though for IGN. Yeah. That was when IGN was like, we don't want to deal with the hassle and the price for just the internet alone and the food for the LACC.
Yeah, I think that was the first year, right? We didn't do LACC, where it was like, no, we didn't have a room in the place. It was across, multiple.
That was the first, the start year, because that's when we did the Up It Noon
Yeah, we did
thing
do
in
Up
there with the dumb
Anthony
cue
Gallegos
cards.
was shirtless in that like one
Yes.
frame.
They're just sitting in the back. Yeah.
Oh God.
Those are the days.
Yeah, that was those were always interesting. Like once we moved outside of it and people were like, "Oh, we can just rent a space and walk into the LACC." I think it got a lot better. Although it was actually pretty convenient just to be able to go upstairs to your war room and like and just sit for a second and drink some coffee. But that always used to piss me off because I'd be like, "It's 3:00. I just want to make myself an iced coffee. I just got off the show floor. I'm tired and sweaty, and Fran made me shoot fucking Scooby-Doo's Adventure on the DS."
Damn it!
Every time, Andy.
Always that story.
And you go back, and you're like, "Oh, cool, the coffee's here." And some fucking asshole from the LACC would be like, "Nope, your time's up," and they would be carting away the stuff. I'm like, "Just leave it. We paid for it. No, we got to bring something else in." I'm like, "This is a fucking racket, man. It's such a racket."
If you brought external food in and they caught you, they'd like fine you or something like that.
Yeah, I remember because we had to hide the box that we all got from they got from Costco of like the freaking chewy granola bars or whatever it was.
And
People
sales
were like,
brought
"Put that
in,
shit away,
in
put
and
that shit
out
away,
one
dude."
time, and yeah, it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, they got pissed. That's right. Oh, the In and Out.
Then Jason Ocampo found a cockroach. There was a whole bunch of stuff going on in the LA Convention Center. This is not a good scene.
And it's
Fran's
always
approach to
cucumber
E3
water.
Yeah, it was always. Why the fuck? I
I don't
it.
get
delicious.
it.
It's
Cucumber
delicious.
I
water,
love
cucumber water
water.
is fine, but
Hydrating.
it's like out of any other type of water, like lemon water, lime water, those are all higher tiers than cucumber water.
Sure, but citrus, man, that can eat. You know, it's acidic.
Bad
You
on
got a
your
heartburn. You can't do that.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very solid point. Yeah.
Everybody can get down to
water is
cucumber water.
fantastic. I don't know.
Thank you, Andy. You know what I mean?
You put a little.
I'm kind of with
Pretty
Tim
low
though.
tier water.
When it's fine when you're in like a day spa and you're like, I'm just having some me time, pampering myself, having a little me time. But when you're really, 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 really thirsty and tired and sweaty, and you got that like glaze of sweat on your forehead that's dried, but then also been replenished again and then dried again, you just want regular water. I get it.
That's what it is.
That's
Yeah.
it. I appreciate
Yeah.
the concern for acid reflux at a show where you're chain smoking until 4 a.m. outside of like a dilapidated motel.
Oh my god, dude! I'll tell you what, Brian, you haven't smoked a cigarette in a while, right?
No, it's probably eight years now. 9 years?
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's coming up on probably 4 for me.
That's great.
Yeah, I absolutely, all jokes aside, very proud of both of us. If you're out there and you're smoking and you're thinking about quitting, please do so. It's great for your health. It's way
can
better
do
for
it.
your health.
Yeah, it's National Quit Smoking Day.
It's National Meatball Day. You can have meatballs instead. You know what they say? Carry meatballs
Pack
around
your
with you instead.
Pack
Eat a
your own
meatball.
meatballs. Pack your own meatballs for lunch anytime you want a cigarette.
Yeah, anytime you want a cigarette, take out a pocket meatball.
Don't do that. That'll
Keep
lead
your
to
hands
heart
busy.
disease very quickly. Let me ask you this question though, Brian. Pandemic hits, right? You're suddenly working from home. Do you think to yourself, "Fuck, you know, it'd go real great with this pandemic right now"?
Yes, you just say yes.
Yeah.
Say less. Yeah.
Yeah,
I will.
are you kidding me? The pandemic unlocked like so many sort of like regressed pockets of my brain that were just like, you guys want to have like Nutella? Kick that
I
fucking
love
door
Nutella.
open. Right, I don't need that shit in my house. But like, I'll go to Costco and be like, oh, there's 2 football helmets of Nutella for $5. Bring them home. I don't need that shit at all. But nowadays, I'm like, fuck it. What's gonna happen? Who cares? You don't even see my legs anymore. No one's seen my legs in a year.
might
Fill
not
them with
even have
Nutella.
legs.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know?
I had a moment, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, where I forgot why, but someone was talking about peanut butter, and I was like, fuck, I want peanut butter so bad right now, but I can't keep a jar of peanut butter here. I'll just eat the whole thing in a day. I can't do it. Bad.
No, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. Do you have like dreams or nightmares where you're smoking a cigarette?
Yes, I do actually. I actually maybe 2 weeks ago, I had a nightmare. I wouldn't call them nightmares. They're just like me
Dreams
being
you feel
honest with
guilty
myself
about?
during sleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I was at a party or something, and I just, it's one of those things where you're like, you don't know the setup for it. All of a sudden, you just have a cigarette in your
You're
mouth,
there,
and you're like,
yeah.
I shouldn't be smoking this, and you're like, well, it's already lit, and it's already close to my mouth.
And you have that moment where you wake up next to your wife and you're like, should I tell her?
Yeah, dude, you literally go, oh my God, I just broke like a 4-year streak of not smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait a minute, it was a dream. And then you have to do the thing where like, no, I didn't smoke anything. I don't have that. Yeah.
It's
But
like,
well, I think one of the best mental feelings is when you wake from a dream/nightmare like that, where you fucked something up, and it wasn't like colossal, but you fucked up, and you get out, and you're like, oh man, that didn't really happen. You know what I mean? The amount of times like you're like in a really shitty situation in a dream, and you wake up, you're like, I don't even have to deal with that shit. That's not fucking real.
That 8 seconds where you're like, I stole a boat.
Yeah. I like committed a crime that I know I'll go to jail for a very long time. And you wake up, you're like, I got away with it.
I didn't even want a boat.
This boat owner is gonna be so mad at me.
I stole a boat.
For me, it's
wake up,
always
you're
a
like, hide
dream
the
of.
boat.
For me, it's always a hit and run type of dream.
What the fuck, man? Really?
Like or just car accidents. Like
Yeah.
I sideswipe a vehicle, and in the moment, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but I'm finally getting out of the car. I'm like, shit, I did a lot of damage to my car. What am I gonna do about this? And then I wake up and feel totally fine. And luckily, that's, I wasn't dream driving.
You roll over, but then the
like,
camera pans outside and Barrett's trapped underneath your car. You drove over and coming home.
Barrett's like, I'm fine. Watch
He's
Clone
like, I
Wars.
know who you are.
You'll never get away with this, Andy. Your streaming career's ruined.
Thankfully, Andy only drives once every 3 weeks, so Barrett's stuck out there for a while. He's gonna be out there for a bit.
Yeah.
I think about it. I see every time I drop something off at Andy's house, I see his car parked out there, the Normandy, and I'm like, maybe I should leave a note. And I'm like, he'll never see this.
No.
It's not
He'll never
get rained
see
on.
this.
He's just
Of course I'll see it.
He walks to CVS. So he's never gonna get in this car
of course
again.
I'll see it.
Is
have
it
to
dusty?
start it up
Can
all
you
the time.
can you put like a message in the back?
Oh no, it rained today.
Oh, also, don't do that. Don't ever do that. I learned that the hard way in high school, junior year. My buddy Stu, you guys know him from the podcast.
Stu, put some stew in that pot, Brian.
Yeah.
Actually, this might have been sophomore year. Whenever we started driving, I think we started driving at 16. Sophomore year, his sister is driving their dad's old Jetta, and his sister is I think she's a senior when we're sophomores. And I mean, I knew her growing up because I've been friends with Stu for a long time. But they got this car, and she just would not wash it. And Stu was like, "Oh, it's." And he wanted the car because he loves Jettas. He loves like Eurosport cars. And he used to get pissed at her for, he's like, wash your car. And then one day I was like, this is going to be hilarious. So I drew all over the car, like, just like, wash me. Nick is the best or whatever. What I didn't realize then, if you push.
Have not aged a day.
Just with your finger, right? Not
Yeah,
like
just
a
my, okay. Yeah, just the finger. Get your head out of the gutter.
You're the only one who went there. He said with a Sharpie, and you immediately thought the other
It's a Sharpie. You go to
yeah,
penis.
but you know what? But a lot of people don't know that me and Brian would call our penises the Sharpie brothers.
That is
Wait, you and
His Super Sharpie brothers.
the Super Sharpie brothers. All right, I
In honor of Mario Day, here's where we end up.
There it is. So I was just my finger, right? Not a Sharpie, not anything else. And
definitely not your
drew
ass
that
or
stuff.
balls or anything.
No. It probably would have been better if it was my ass, because apparently if you press too hard, it actually fucks the clear coat up of the car. And to this, like, for like 3 or 4 years after Stu inherited that car, he was so pissed at me. He was like, I could still see those fucking messages you put in the car. And he like waxed it and did the whole thing, but he could just never get those out.
You could do that with bologna slices too. Get your head out of the gutter. Like actual bologna slices, you could throw them onto a car and they leave. You could put polka dot. Why are we? This is like an anarchist cookbook TV show.
No, this is learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I've talked about it before. This is the same thing with shaving cream. Shaving cream, if you leave on a car,
yeah.
will remove the paint from it, because we found out the hard way when we did that to our friend when he was on a date. And it was we thought we didn't use silly string. We had the silly string in our hands. And we're like, no, that could fuck up the car. Shaving cream you put on your face, it can't hurt the car. And sure as shit,
silly string like would
Good
straight.
logic.
You could straight up like stain a shirt with that. So I remember my dad. We got silly string at like some like Easter fair bullshit. Like growing up in New Jersey. And my dad had this like brand new, like really nice dress shirt that he put on because it was like Easter Sunday. And I was like, haha, fuck you, dad, silly string. And it just left this just like hot pink, just like splotch across the middle of it. And he was like, I can't do anything with this. Why the fuck?
The shirt's gone.
Yeah. And it's just like, man, this is going to be a tough life for me.
Yeah, man.
I feel this is an interesting one, Brian. I need you to again. You're our only bridge to anybody with children. Has children's toys and things of that nature, like we're talking about the silly string, gotten better? Because I remember in a very similar way, like, you know, how silly string was the coolest thing in the world. But I remember how it was like, you know, don't get in your fucking eye. And I remember one day as a kid being on the back porch with it, and I was like, here we go. And I hit it, and sure as shit, it was turned the wrong way, right into my eyeball. And I fucking panicked. Mom panicked. Like, it picking me up like a sack of potatoes into the kitchen sink while I'm screaming, of course. I think I'm going blind. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Vomiting all over the place.
I don't have my bowl.
I'm scared.
Are the stakes as high these days? I feel like there's less and less things that they're making things, you know, safer to not kill us. Or kids.
I'm trying to think of like I personally don't know any fathers who are like bad enough at being dads that they gave their 2-year-old silly string. But you got to start somewhere. I mean, I imagine it's like app controlled now, but it's still staying shirts. Like that's the thing, they shoehorn that shit into everything now, and that gets super annoying. Like you get a toy for your kid, and it's like load up your smartphone. And I'm like, this is why I don't want my kid on.
I don't want that.
Yeah, this is like why we got toys. Or like every book too has like this thing in the back where they're like scan a QR code. I'm like, you're a book. Stay in your fucking lane.
Yeah. You know? Let's keep them here.
Yeah, god damn it. Like you're gonna be on your phone for the rest of your life. Just let me enjoy this like month. They're just reading a regular book that doesn't have a fucking QR code in the back of it. Sorry.
What are her jams right now? Like what is she into?
Oh man. Well, we're like slowly introducing her to every Disney movie, which is like this amazing sort of like magical experience that is immediately followed by just us hating the shit out of the movie for about a month straight.
Because she just wants to keep watching it.
Yeah, like there's all that thing going around on Twitter these days being like, oh man, Phil Collins blacked out on that Tarzan soundtrack. He did. But like when you have a kid, Jesus Christ, when you have a kid, you will hate that man. And you have no reason for it. You have no like nothing at all. Like
waking up from dreams like, oh, I didn't kill Phil Collins. Thank God. I thought I did in my dream.
Just wait till you get to the Pixar movies and Randy Newman is in everything, and she starts singing those songs.
Yeah, I'm
actually give me some Randy Newman, Andy.
You got a Freddy. Where the roller, rubber head and you miles and miles to be nice whooping.
He's really good at that. That's a very
we do it a lot.
We yell at Andy to do the Randy.
This is usually just a 4-man podcast, and I pop in whenever they need Randy Newman help. But for some reason, there's a 5-person over there.
He's hard to get these days, so that's
yeah.
Is he alive?
Randy Newman, I think so.
He's alive.
Yeah. He just did Toy Story 4.
Did we kill
which
Randy
I guess at this point was a long time ago, but still. God,
that would suck if this became the R.I.P. Randy Newman podcast.
Yeah.
Like if we just discovered he died, we're like, we didn't even know.
That would suck. You're right, Nick. That would suck.
That would be really hard for us.
I think it'd be a lot harder for a podcast that didn't have an A+ Randy Newman impersonator in the middle of it.
Just pop in.
Andy Newman.
Here. Keep
That's
the spirit alive.
But the problem is, Brian, there'd be like that, mourning period where it wouldn't be couth to do your Randy Newman impression. You know what I mean? It's not like right now Kevin breaks in. He's like, hey guys, breaking news. Randy Newman just died. Andy isn't immediately going, you got a friend.
Yeah,
like he's not really. He's got oh man, we have a moment of silence.
Let me tell you honestly right now, if Andy of all of us did that, that would be fucking savage.
So
that would be amazing.
A little bit more alive than I am.
I was like, wow.
Does
Andy's
Kevin does he announce a lot of celebrity deaths on this show?
No,
when he has to.
He
you know what I mean? When he has to. He doesn't
we're just so like we you don't want to ever be wrong, so you don't want to be like Randy Newman's alive and he just died. You don't want to look stupid on a podcast ever. So, but Kevin likes to fact check us every once in a while.
Kevin's really good at just getting really good's a weird way to put it, but something Kevin does often is he'll get excited and need to tell us something. And so he'll just like butt in and tell us it at that moment, whatever that thing is. My favorite moment of this happening recently, Brian, was when we were doing our live reactions to the Game Awards, which were happening at the exact same time that Disney Investor Day was happening. So all the D23 stuff was being announced. And Sephiroth was just announced in Super Smash Brothers, and we're all there losing our minds like, oh my God, Kevin comes in hot as fuck, and it's just like, holy shit, Tim, they just announced Sister Act 3.
It's a pivotal movie in my childhood, guys. It's like a big, which is one of those movies we've seen a million times, like Coming to America.
That's his Sephiroth. I mean,
it was everybody just so damn good.
It was out of nowhere. Holy shit, Tim! Sister Act 3.
I forgot that got announced. We haven't. There's been no buzz about that, right? There's been no.
Unfortunately, no. Yeah.
I mean, we're all waiting with bated breath to see what the casting is on that one.
Look,
if you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Kind of Funny podcast each and every week. Jesus. 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on these microphones, each coming to bullshit with each other and with you. If you like that, you can head over to patreon.com/kindoffunny to give us your topics, your suggestions, everything under the bullshit sun. And then, of course, you can get the show ad-free. You can get it with the exclusive post show we do over there. You could be watching live, just like Mike L., Corey Scott, Lexi G, all are, and they were all betting on when the intro would actually happen. Of course, if you have no bucks tossed our way, it's no big deal. You can go over to youtube.com/kindafunny, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe twice a week to get brand spanking new episodes for you. Some housekeeping for you. It's a huge week next week. Get all your sleep in now because you have a million things to watch next week. Remember, the Snyder Cut of Justice League drops next week. The DCEU in review is back for that. Be ready for that. Invincible drops next week. That means there'll be a screencast reaction thing going on, right, Tim, like we did for WandaVision and all that jazz.
Exactly.
Falcon and Winter Soldier drops next week. It's getting reaction treatment as well. That's happening. You got to be on top of that for all your different viewing and thing. You have a lot of shit to watch next week.
Twitter.com/kindafunnyvids. Stay tuned and stay updated because things might get crazy and might change.
Horny.
Andy, I don't like doing this. It's rare that I have to. I am banning you from streaming this weekend and week because I need you to get some extra rest so you're able to be on all these shows, okay?
But also, I'm going to need you to play some Warzone with me at night.
Damn it, God fucking damn it. Thank you to our patron.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Usually, Greg, like the interests of the company don't lie with the interests of Nick. So you have to understand that.
Andy, sometimes they line up and sometimes they just kind of narrowly miss each other.
Brian, there will be several times where we have to watch an interview for tomorrow. Maybe we have to watch John Wick 2 or we have to watch some sort of thing. And I haven't watched it yet. And it's like, okay, I know I have to do that tonight. And then I'll get a text from Nick, hey, hop in the Warzone with me. But I got to watch John Wick 2. And sorry, Nick, I got to watch John Wick 2. Andy, who cares, dude? Keanu Reeves, he wins. He shoots some guys. It's over. Like, just play some games with me. A founder of the company, a boss.
Yeah. I know you're going to get it done. I just like to inspire you. Andy, sometimes I just want you to know you're loved and that I like playing games with you. That's it.
Right,
and
cool.
that
Andy,
I sympathize
feel
as well.
Inspired by that. Just a quick question.
Of Nick telling me this?
Yeah, how often you're like, damn, you know what? I'm inspired after that. And then you go in and I guess work harder. I don't know.
It's a rousing speech. It's a rousing speech from Nick.
Great, man.
Yeah, rarely, Kevin, honestly. But
I got carried away. I'm off a week, aren't I? I thought I was recording. I put in next Monday's thing too. Invincible's 2 weeks from now. 26 is when that debuts. Everybody, March 26th. Thank you to our Patreon producers at Nanobiologist, aka Mick Abramson, at Nanobiologist, aka at Mick Abramson, DJ Kento, Devin Carter, Steve Powers, Ryan Trimble, Kieran O'Donnell, Joy, aka Joseph O. Youssef, Aaron Horan, Bill Bowie, Julian the Gluten-Free Gamer, Danny Rodriguez, and Rachel Gray. Today we're brought to you by Me Undies and Keeps, but I'll tell you later. For now, I was looking at the live chat while we were going. Brian, how do you feel about this? Kyle in the chat took the question you asked your daughter and disagreed with her and said a tiger could probably take a velociraptor. Do you think that's possible? Tiger versus velociraptor,
like non-canonical velociraptor from Jurassic Park that are like.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
here's the
bigger,
thing.
way bigger.
I don't keep up with creationists and scientists these days, where they're like, "Oh no, it turns out all the dinosaurs had feathers." Listen,
I don't either.
I learned about dinosaurs. I learned about Jesus. Whatever it was in 1986 is good enough by me. All right, I got it. That's who they are.
Thing is like literally the only thing I'm like Donald Trump about. Where like despite being presented all the evidence, I'm like, no, that's not what I believe. Like,
I would love, Brian, I would love for someone to wake up out of a 10-year coma and just see Twitter saying, listen to the science, listen to the scientists. Be like, no, I will not. Dinosaurs did not look like birds.
It sucks.
The thing, growing up in the 80s, dinosaurs did not look like birds and Pluto still a planet. Those are the things those are the hills we die on as 80s kids, for sure.
Yo, it's fucked up. If you Google search Velociraptor and hit images, the majority of them
like big chickens, right?
have some dumb ass fans, man.
Yeah,
or like wings.
Of them are photographs, which I thought was weird. How did they do that?
I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, they had cameras back then. Very advanced species of velociraptors.
I do feel like the narrative. I do feel like the narrative has completely changed, like how we talk about how the word "woe" is spelled from WHOA to now WOAH, which I'm not a fan of. But I think the narrative has completely changed, where velociraptors just look like birds now. Like that's just.
I don't like that.
I think the majority of the image searches you will find are feathery. Sort of little creatures.
Like this for like the last 2 weeks, like all these people have been pissed off about like the Dr. Seuss thing and the Pepe Le Pew thing. Justifiably, you know, there's like a lot of obviously opinions on each side. I'm fine with Pepe Le Pew going away forever. If they fucking recut Jurassic Park with feathers on all the dinosaurs,
no, this is a problem. You know?
I'm going on Fox News and I'm gonna talk about how that's a problem.
But they
that's
added
fucked up, man. It's fucked up.
In the last movie, they added like a canon reason why they look the way they do. Canonical, thanks. It wasn't coming out.
Yeah,
remember
they described it as cool as shit.
Right. I mean, but like, basically, the
lame.
scientists was like, they don't look like that. We made them look like that. So there you go. There you go.
I'm good with that.
Right.
Well, also, didn't they like mix in some like DNA from lizards and shit and all that stuff in the
frogs,
original one
remember?
anyway?
Frogs,
yeah.
That's how they
Komodo dragons, the modern day dinosaurs.
Kevin, can you throw up? I just put in assets a link to a Velociraptor. What big science is trying to tell you? Velociraptors look like
give me
right
a
now.
fucking
that.
break. These
You know what I
dudes,
mean?
dude. Give me a break.
Get out of this lab, Fauci, and get into solving coronavirus. Look,
Right?
this is a Monster Hunter villain, all right? This is a creature from Monster Hunter.
That's a fucking Muppet. Get out of here.
Yeah. No, we don't need this. We don't need this.
Could you
I like that
Don't.
I like that it says
imagine-
athletic build. As opposed to us poor paunchy dinosaurs that just
Look at
kind of
his
sit all day.
look at his thick ass feet. He's got some thick feet. What the fuck is up with that?
Put 'em on
do well
Wiki.
with your feet.
They
Do you think
can't do
this dude's on Wiki Feet, right?
They
Oh,
can't
definitely.
do this.
It's got perfect
They
brain
can't-
like me and Greg. Oh wait.
Tim, they
People
can't do this. Like this,
I'm with you.
This is what they're making it be now. Kids are gonna grow up, and this is gonna be their Velociraptor, and it's absolute bullshit.
It's
dude.
not
It's also
right. It's not
terrifying.
right.
You know,
looking. This is way
here's a question
scarier
though. Like, are kids being taught about dinosaurs? Period. Like, I feel like at some point,
so.
like we'd see this shit, and then like teachers be like, "I'm not doing this."
Oh, like the new math thing, like the new math.
Yeah,
Where they just refuse it. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility.
because like we were definitely taught about dinosaurs, but I feel like most of the time we were taught about dinosaurs, it was like, okay, here's like 3 facts that are real, and then the rest of it's just like, yeah, dinosaurs are cool. What's up, Andy?
All right, everybody, I need you to think for a second. Oh,
Ah,
here we go.
Jesus God.
Here we go. Who the fuck?
You
are we
calling
calling?
Poe? You gonna bother Poe with this?
Teaching kids about.
He's a teacher and he has a kid. It's perfect.
Oh, great. Okay.
Your best friend must hate
I thought
you.
he was a doctor.
Must
No.
hate you.
Is he not
I'm
a
just
doctor?
happy it's him
No, he's a
because it
teacher.
could have been fucking anybody.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it literally could have been Lucy James. Like, Lucy, what do the Brits think about dinosaurs? What do English people think about dinosaurs?
Well, we all know they don't think about dinosaurs. There's never been. Well, they got Stonehenge over there. They got their own problems.
They didn't have any dinosaurs over there, I don't think.
Hello, you've reached Patrick Polosic. Please leave a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
What a
Thank you.
dweeb!
Nobody
At the tone,
listens
please
to
record your
voicemails.
message. When you
No
finish
idea
recording, you may
Poe's
hang
Poe
up
listens to
or press
voicemails,
1 for
Andy.
more options.
Yeah, you're right.
Have you met this man?
Hello, Patrick Polosic. It's me, Greg. You're on the Kind of Funny podcast. Listen, so we need to know, Jack's 7, right? Are they teaching him about dinosaurs having feathers, and how would you allow that in your house? All right, why would you let that happen? Aren't you going to the PTA meetings and stopping this shit? Somebody's got to stand up for the dinosaurs that looked cool, not these lame-ass birds. All right, call me back. Bye.
Like, what does a
Thank you.
T-Rex look like? Does it look like a big fucking chicken too? Like, what?
I
what do
mean,
they look like?
we're asking the wrong questions. Like, what the fuck does a triceratops with feathers look like? Like, that's disgusting.
I want to
People would be-
vomit.
The other dinosaurs would have been throwing up. They would have been just seen him and just threw up. It's
If I am,
disgusting.
Wait, but not
if
all of
I'll
them
tell you
had
right
feathers.
now. Say
What?
that again, Kev.
I don't believe that all of them had feathers.
because none
Like
of them
T-Rex,
had feathers. It's not
and
what
the
I was saying.
Velociraptor, they're like in that branch that becomes chickens eventually with enough time.
So they're like they're like the chicken branch, and then the other ones
Six foot
are the
turkey.
Komodo dragon branch, right? Or like the alligator branch, or whatever the hell it
Yeah,
is.
sure. I mean, I think
If I'm the
alligators were still alligators
superintendent
back
of-
then.
If
Were
I'm
they
the
just bigger?
superintendent of
Yeah.
a school district and there are parents and teachers complaining about new math, I say, look, I don't give a shit about your math. All right.
Yeah.
As long as the dinosaurs look like dinosaurs, like I want Steven Spielberg to be the art director of my school district. I want the Pepperoni Diplomacy Act implemented. Brian may be wondering, Andy, what's the Pepperoni Diplomacy Act of 2019? If you're ordering pizza for a school or for work, you have to have a majority pepperoni because pepperoni always goes the quickest, and then people like me who don't want pomegranate on their pizza or whatever, pomegranate and the cocoa
Fucking
leaves. I
acai
don't
berry.
know.
I don't want
Acai
acai
berry,
berry. on
yeah.
my
Preach,
damn
preach.
pizza.
Yeah, let me.
Get the shit outta here.
Majority. We
Fucking
need at least
rhubarb
60 to
pizza.
70% pepperoni. I think those
I
are my
say 80.
core rules. Like the math, math sucks anyway. Teach kids about retirement plans and taxes and stock markets. Go ahead, Greg. Oh, Nick has his hand up. Sorry.
It's
I was gonna
okay. We look a lot alike.
I was just gonna say, Andy, your figures were a little off. I don't know if you know this, but the Diplomacy Act has actually been ratified again to be 80%. Pepperoni.
Wow, we had a new vote. I didn't. I was
New vote.
Nick
just
needs
happened
more
right
pizzas that he can just take the pepperoni off and not eat the rest
And
of
the
it.
cheese. He
but,
takes the
but,
cheese.
but leave the rest in the box.
Listen, I leave that for the vegetarians out there. I take the pepperoni and the cheese off. The vegans can eat the crust.
Yeah.
The bread.
No, he
Is
does
that
it
how
'cause,
that
yeah,
works, Brian? I don't know. I don't know how veganism
He does
works.
the low carb thing, Brian. So yeah, he just
Not
leaves
like that. It's not like that
eviscerated
at all.
slices out there.
The biggest worry I have about the dinosaurs, the feathered dinosaurs, is what does that mean for the dinosaur comforter set? The pillowcase and comforter set with those colorful dinosaurs. Like, first off, do kids still have that comforter? And if
I
not,
gotta assume, Tim. I gotta
fucked
assume
up.
it's like in time travel movies. Whenever a time paradox has happened and those people disappear, I gotta assume those comforters are just all disappearing because all these rules are kind of changing the past. You know. So all the, you know what I mean? Like when you kill the kid in the future, you look at the old photo of the dad, and the dad starts disappearing in the photo.
yeah,
Blanket starts
all the
disappearing.
comforters gone.
So
when I went to
when
Japan,
they
there was an entire store dedicated to those dinosaurs.
Oh, that
And it was like
rules.
the coolest thing ever. And it made no sense because I was like, it's not like it's a brand specifically, but
Very niche market.
everything they had in the store was just those dinosaur themes.
That's so dope. That's what I love about Japan. Japan, if you're into something like that, either broad or niche, there's a fucking whole store for it.
Look, everybody does the
Guarantee it.
dinosaur, you know.
Everybody does the dinosaurs. Super Mario Brothers the movie. It's Mario Day. There we go.
It is Mario Day. I still don't like that now we're suddenly saying that some of the dinosaurs had feathers. Like, I feel like that's really backtracking.
You think it's slippery slope? You think it's slippery slope? Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't doubt Kevin when it comes to dinosaur facts because I know he loves dinosaurs. There's two things I never doubt Kevin on. If I say something and he says you're wrong and it's either of these two things, I will not argue with him ever again. Space and dinosaurs. Those are the two things that Kevin fucking loves. He watches, and cabinet making or whatever he watches on YouTube. When he's, you know what I mean? Like, he's like woodworking. He's a fucking master when it comes to woodworking. But yeah, the fact that there's two dinosaurs now, I don't like it, man. Dinosaurs to me are like green, purple, and that's pretty much it. And they come, whatever that little set was.
How
that were
purple?
Like,
Were we fucking with some back in the day? Some purple dinosaurs for real? Like, and it
No,
was just
I'm talking about, like,
a dark hue purple.
I'm
Probably.
talking about like when they would draw the dinosaurs, it would be like green,
Okay,
purple,
Barney.
and red.
Yeah,
Barney and stuff like that. Yeah. You guys remember the dinosaur toys that weren't really toys so much as they were just really, really hard blocks of very heavy plastic that had a lot
really
of spikes in them?
Like, oh my god, if you stepped on that thing, that's
Oh
like
god,
a
they woke you up in the middle of the
laceration.
night. Yeah,
That's
Like,
a
if you got-
fucking stitching that you're gonna need to go get done at an ER. Yeah, it's
Sure,
dangerous.
Yeah, that's why podiatrists were fucking rolling it in the 80s. They were just like
Kevin,
these stupid kids.
I dropped a photo in one of the text chats
Oh, yeah,
of
yeah.
me wearing one of those like iconic dinosaur T-shirts.
Oh my god.
It just
Holy
says,
shit.
I think it
yeah.
just says Triceratops across the front.
What
Oh
kind
my
of toy
god,
you
that is
rocking with?
amazing.
Oh,
That's Blaster, bro. You
yeah,
kidding
it's
me?
Blaster from Transformers. That's
It's
like
the good guy
OG vintage one.
Soundwave.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
He only plays
Brian,
like he only plays censored hip hop.
Oh my
no parental
god.
advisory necessary.
Wait,
There it
hold
is.
on, Andy. I think you're onto something though about the time travel stuff of just wiping the dinosaur comforters, because I googled dinosaur comforter and not a single one of these images is the one I'm talking about.
What about sheets?
Yeah.
Dinosaur sheets.
Tim, the ones you're probably talking about, they were like a lot more muted in color, right? Like they were like earth tones.
No, they were like the most basic ass primary colors.
Yeah, like this. I'm like here.
Are you sure you
Yeah, that's
didn't
kinda
Mandela
Isn't
effect
this
them?
pretty close?
It's not. It's similar in
Like,
style, but the
but, like, here's
dinosaurs
the
were
thing.
bigger.
They have more colors now. You see that?
Who's that?
Yeah,
Who's that?
this
dude?
looks like a fancy version for sure.
Yeah. But
Kevin,
I
can you
feel
scroll
like,
down a little bit? Who's that
Okay.
motherfucker with he's got the shit on his head? It's like the boomerang. It's like a dildo. That
this guy, yeah.
What's that
looks really
motherfucker's
good.
name?
It's Magnet
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Do you know
That's
what?
it.
You know what kind of dinosaur that is? I forget what kind of.
No,
I
I
have
don't,
no
I don't know
idea.
the name.
I feel like
Magnet
that's-
Man.
There was
It's a
Ducky,
ducky, right?
from
It's a
Land Before
ducky.
Time. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a ducky. It's a big ducky.
Man, I see
Yeah.
an image of Ducky. I can't
Yeah,
forget
Ducky.
now.
That's right. I
Kev.
feel like after that they kind of retired that dinosaur. He doesn't really pop up in a lot of shit. Right?
Yeah, it's
Oh my
weird.
god, look at
I
these.
said
Yeah, this-
assets, the one I'm talking about.
Where'd you find it? See, like, remember these dinosaur stickers where you just said the name of the dinosaur? Yeah.
Dinosaurs are
These are
fucking
great.
cool, man. Don't take them from us. Don't feather them. Come on. No, not this
that's
guy.
the wrong thing. That's the wrong thing.
Yeah.
That's
You
Kevin.
That is what you
I'm
just
not
said,
saying anything
though.
else in assets. You said
Yeah,
me
you
directly?
didn't copy correctly because you sent the tweet twice.
Oh, my bad.
Now, here's a question I have, and we won't get too far from dinosaurs, I swear, Tim. Brian, you know, and I say this with all due respect, you're a huge fucking dork just like us. You know what I mean? Looking behind you got all your cool toys back there. You got your Star Wars. You got your Marios. When you father this child and you get to start buying toys, do you draw a line in the sand? Because I feel like when, you know, if God ever lets me one day, Jen and I have a kid and we get there, whatever. I'm not gonna like. Do you want generic ass like sheets? Do you want like this? Like you're showing this photo of you with just, you know, Stegosaurus on the shirt. Like I'm not gonna be about that life. I'm gonna be like, let's get Ghostbuster stuff. Let's get Superman stuff. Let's get Spider-Man. Let's get you in actual licensed stuff.
Totally. Yeah, I think that's such a huge part of it, and it's super fun because they get into it really early on. And I think there's been this like weird sort of, and you guys have seen it in the Bay Area, this kind of like minimalist movement with a lot of stuff that like very muted tones that a lot of people put their kids in, and they're
no thank you.
It looks like those like weird Kanye West prison clothes from a couple years ago. And I'm like I don't know, what, wear a shirt with BB-8 on it, like that's fun. That's
exactly
cool. Like,
right.
Yeah, I think that's important. It's also because it's like, I know that if you like in the moment it's great, but also if you go back and look at those pictures 30 years later and you have like a character from Star Wars on your shirt rather than just like this like dead gray and you're just standing like among trees like a ghost child, I feel like there's like a fucking that you'd be like, well, this explains a lot. But like 30 years later, if you're wearing like a BB-8 shirt, you could be like, this explains a lot. This is why I'm alone, you know.
Why
like,
we're gonna yeah. I just feel like when you're a kid, I mean I'm not a dad, but I just mean like part of the fun has to be fostering that creativity, right? And just like seeing what she wants to get into, and like I mean, obviously, Star Wars must be. I mean, Greg and I talk about this all the time because when we grew up, and Altano, you're my age as well. We grew up with just such a sort of void of awesome toys to play with, and I say that like I just mean like superhero toys and stuff like that. Yeah, I guess we had G.I. Joe and stuff like that. But like now, there's just anything you want. It's just right there for you.
Oh, it's insane. The fact that like literally everything we love now is a Lego, but like we're 40 is such a fucked up. That's such a fucked up like weird catch-22, because it's like yeah, we're, you know, we have enough money to buy them, but like it's like
big old Patrick Polasik's calling us here.
All right, let's hear it. I want to hear it.
Does she look like that?
Hello, Patrick Polasik. You're on the Kind of Funny podcast. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Good. So obviously, same rules as always apply. You can hear me. They can. All right, fine. Fuck you. Question we have for you is so you got your son now, right? 7 years old. Yep. You're of course teaching in a school as well. I mean, at college or whatever. Are you allowing your son to be taught about dinosaurs having feathers?
I just asked him if dinosaurs had feathers. He was shocked and said no.
Good.
And then we left it at that. So yeah.
Perfect. All right. Good. Thank you. Just making sure. You know what I mean? We got all these revisionist historians out there right now trying to say, look at
up new things.
I know, right? It's the past. We looked at it. It's done. Let's move forward. You know? Come on.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Bye.
No problem. Goodbye.
Do you guys have any idea Ducky was fucking huge? Like enormous?
Well, yeah. Wasn't her parents hella big?
No, I don't think
and like
so.
she was small. That's like the weird thing about her.
I don't think so. I think her parents were like,
because then her parents got Spike to like look over her.
I thought that was just like a weird friendship.
I do want to interject really, really quickly that maybe it's a Midwest thing, Greg. I don't want to, stereotype, but maybe the more progressive parts of America are teaching about dinosaurs with feathers and new information. But some older places are saying, "Hey, no, they don't have feathers. They're just like the dinosaurs you've always seen, and also all the bad stuff that's ever happened. It's just not real."
You're saying feathers are like relegated to the coastal elite?
I got a different. We're calling a different person.
Probably.
Yeah. Who's the wokest 7-year-old we know?
Hello,
cousin Julie. It's Greg Miller. How are you?
Great. What are you doing?
We're making a podcast. You're live on the Kind of Funny podcast, so that's happening.
Sweet.
So what grade do you teach now? Third. Okay. Are you teaching your kids that dinosaurs had feathers?
Yes.
What's wrong with you? How could you turn on our generation like this? All right, it's in the books. It's done. They were lizards. It's cool.
They are lizards. But there is one dinosaur, and I can't tell you the name off the top of my head.
Sure.
But there is one where they do show that there were feathers that are fossilized, and that's why this one particular one is a feathered dinosaur. I can't tell you what it is, but yeah,
Velociraptor.
I'm actually teaching it right now, as a matter of fact.
All right. Well, I think they've been finding dinosaurs for hundreds of years. They didn't have this one dinosaur pops up, died with a bird next to it, and they're gonna go teach this now. That's like, it seems trouble to me.
This is bird life.
You know, if I was prepared for this call, I
Sure.
would have told you the name of the dinosaur.
No. That's not. We're not saying you're making it up.
There is one.
All right.
And I can't think of it, but it's out there.
All right. Well, thank you.
It's pretty cool, actually.
Oh, well, so you say. All right, we'll be the judge of that, because you know what I mean. I don't know if I think it's cool that there's this dinosaur with feather. You know, I digress. Here's the other airing of grievances. As you might be aware, a few weeks ago, we called your sister. We had cousin Jody on this show.
They're not the same one. I thought it was the same one.
Yeah, we did. We had cousin Jody on the show a couple weeks ago. And I want you to know that apparently when I said goodbye to cousin Jody, I didn't say I love you. And that got all the way back to my dad, who then chewed me out of the phone on our Sunday phone call about it, all right? So before I let you go, cousin Julie, I will tell you I love you, and you're my favorite cousin out of the two, because I know you wouldn't throw me under the bus.
She didn't rat
like
you
that.
out. Fucking Jody ratted you out.
Oh, well, I love you too. When are you coming to visit?
I don't know. I got to get vaccinated. Everybody's got to get vaccinated. It's crazy time out here. You know what I mean? This COVID.
Yeah, my second shot's tomorrow.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we'll talk soon.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.
I love looking at Brian and him just going, good.
I was really hoping we'd
her.
get to be like, oh man, COVID's a joke, and she just hang up on you.
Don't be a pussy.
So I do want to point out, in a 15-minute span here, we went from no, dinosaurs had feathers to some dinosaurs had feathers to one dinosaur.
There is one out there that has
apparently
the feathers.
just one. So
She's
then
teaching third
why are
grade,
we even
you know what I
talking
mean?
about
I'm
this one?
I'm pretty sure there's evidence that T-Rexes have feathers.
Look,
Very
here's the
solid
thing.
evidence.
Kevin, here's the thing. At one point they found a fucking lizard with like a horn down its spine. And they're like, look at this unique thing, but we don't think of lizards as that thing. Just because there was one that has feathers doesn't mean they should all have feathers now.
Yeah.
It's like how I'm faster than Andy, but they're like, oh, all tall people are faster than Andy. I'm sure there's a handful of tall people Andy could beat in a race with his tiny little stubby legs.
I think a dinosaur married a large bird, and they went to bed one night, and the asteroid hit, and they combined into one thing, and then people forever now are just fucking up kids.
Are you talking about like those people that were like found fossilized, like holding each other's hands?
Pompeii? Yeah, I think this was interspecial dinosaur bird Pompeii sex that happened during the droppings of the sky rocks, and then ever since then scientists have they found that one bed that had the two of them in it, and they're like, oh, I guess they got feathers now, and you can't prove that.
Now, Tim, I was calling in guests, obviously. You know, I have to keep rolling out cousins nobody's ever heard of.
Jesus Christ, this dinosaur.
Jesus. That thing is terrifying. Is this the one, Kevin?
What is that?
The one what?
It looked like when Joker was wearing a mask of skin.
Yeah.
Did you show these sheets? Did these sheets get up there that you put in assets? I see that they came through.
Yeah, Kev brought it up for a second.
All right, cool. I don't remember these. I thought when you started talking about it, I would pick when
these?
I saw them, I would know them. I didn't have them.
Tim,
these are from the 90s for sure. Of every single person had these.
Sure.
Are you sure?
No,
or
I
not
didn't have that.
Or was
Not
it
only
just
did
that
I have these,
had
but
them?
no, I had these too, and I had dinosaur wallpaper, which was like, first of all, wallpaper is a weird concept to explain to anybody in 2021. Do people even buy wallpaper anymore?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it came back.
It came back, wallpaper?
Yeah, like
I got some
wallpaper.
dope wallpaper.
Hard as
That was
ever
cool.
before, yeah.
No
Like custom
shit,
stuff.
because there was a while where it was just not a thing, right?
Well, there was, I remember the 80s was wallpaper. Actually, late 70s was wallpaper everywhere. And I distinctly remember my mom was like, we're going to take the wallpaper off the walls and we're going to do it ourselves because that's what they thought that was a good idea. And it took,
I bet Big Lou and Elena had a not fun time with that.
Oh,
It's like
it was
5 month job.
horrible. Like steaming it and then I don't know how the hell it was terrible. Yeah, ever since then, I think my mom was just like, "We're never doing wallpaper again." But
Sure.
yeah, it's come back as like accent walls and cool stuff like that. There's a lot of
that I dig. That I dig. I'm
The
way
blankets,
into that.
the blankets that I had and that I feel like everybody had. I don't know if it was just. I'm sure I'm going to say this and people will say, "No, Andy, it happened everywhere." But I feel like it was a very Tex-Mex, like southern region of the border thing, where there was it was like a reddish maroonish blanket with like a tiger in kind of a, I don't know, golden beige sort of stitching. There's always like a big tiger head or the body of a tiger. And I remember it popping up on Twitter one time, and it was a Twitter account that said like every Latino living in America had one of these growing up. And I was like, oh shit, is that really a thing? I didn't know that was a thing. And I'm trying to look them up right now so I can. I already fucking found it.
This is gonna be really hard. I found it. There it is.
I already
Got
fucking found it. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm gonna send this to the same assets thing, Kevin. Okay. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the one. And again, it's possible it existed in a lot of other cultures, but I swear this was like every family and every friend that I had a blanket similar to that blanket, and it was just a weird thing that I feel like everybody had growing up.
While Kevin pulls that up, let me remind you, of course, this is the Kind of Funny podcast. You can go to patreon.com/kindafunny to be part of it. Of course, while you're there, you could watch the show live, just like Nick is, like Lewis, like Cameron is. You could get it ad-free. You could get it with the post show we do each and every weekday, but you're not watching it there right now, so you get to hear the ads.
This episode is brought to you by MeUndies. It's time we stop messing around about funny things and talk about something really serious and important. Your underwear. That's right, we're doing it. MeUndies believes undies are something that should be yelled about from rooftops or shown off in mirror selfies for Instagram. They're not undie shy, so let's talk. I love undies so much, specifically MeUndies. Kevin knows it, I know it, Greg Miller knows it, most of Kind of Funny knows it. We've exclusively been wearing MeUndies. They are the official undies of Kind of Funny. I love them because they have this super soft micro-modal fabric. They come in so many fun prints. There's like themed ones, licensed ones like Star Wars stuff, or just fun things like sushi. Yeah, who doesn't love sushi? I know I do, especially when it's all over me, keeping me warm, soft, all the good things. I wear MeUndies all the time. I have their socks, their shirts, their lounge pants, everything. Could not be a bigger fan. Any product they put out, I'm probably going to get it because they have extremely high levels of quality and everything that I'm looking for in those articles of clothing. They are offered in ranges of sizes, including extra small all the way to 4XL. And now that everyone's working from home, they also offer the softest loungewear, which I can tell you, it's the softest loungewear. Fill your closet with things you actually want to put on, like I do every day of my life. To get your 15% off your first order, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/morning. That's MeUndies.com/morning. Next up, shout out to Keeps. 2 out of 3 men will experience some form of hair loss by the time they're 35. More than 50 million men in the U.S. suffer from male pattern baldness, and there are only 2 FDA-approved medications that can prevent hair loss. Keeps offers both. Here's the thing. Keeps offers a simple, stress-free way to keep your hair. Low-cost treatments start at just $10 per month, and Keeps offers generic versions. Andy and Nick both realized that they had some hair issues, and they decided they were going to do something about it. So they have been making sure that they understood prevention is key. Treatments can take 4 to 6 months to see results. So they checked this out, and it's been working great for them. If you're ready to take action to prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/morning to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's KEEPS.com/morning to get your first month free. Keeps.com/morning.
You could get it in the.
All right, we're back, and this is the blanket.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it.
I've never seen it before.
I've never seen it, yeah.
I feel like everybody
cool,
had
though.
one of these growing up. But like they were always just the ones that you brought out whenever a friend was sleeping over, and it was always in the closet, just kind of rolled up, or you had cousins sleeping over, you had people in town.
Sure.
And this is the blanket that they got stuck with.
That's fucking awesome. You guys had you had a tiger sleepover blanket? That kicks so much ass.
It's so weird. It was like super thick, and it probably like did not breathe well at all. But yeah,
it looks like your dad stole this from like a magician.
It looks like it feels like a towel.
Yeah, it feels like it's real thin. It's like one of those really thin fleece.
No, I remember them feeling pretty thick and heavy. Yeah.
The chat's popping off with people going like, I've never seen this. And then Moko Shona says, LMAO, my grandma had like 4 of these. Yasin says, fuck, I had that and my family is African.
Oh,
there's a bunch in here. Yeah.
You gotta,
Michael, I think
gotta
my neighbor had one.
You gotta appreciate that we're talking about dinosaurs versus tigers.
There it is.
Dinosaur comforter
we
versus
got a lot
tiger
of mileage
blanket.
out of that.
That's how we do it here. That's exactly what we do here.
A little non sequitur, but I don't know if the Google search will work, Kevin. This is the comforter that I remember most from my life, though, and I don't know if that gets pulled up.
Can you send it to assets? Let's keep.
I did.
He did.
Stuff to assets. Thank you.
Okay.
It's in assets.
I don't know if that. Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
I
think my brother still has that. I think my parents saved the Star Wars for audio listeners. I'm talking about the old school Star Wars. It wasn't. That's not that one, Kevin. It was one that was in the link down left. It doesn't matter. That one right there. That is the one that I think my brother still has to this day, and I remember that thing so vividly. It's weird.
Yeah. What's weird is like that kids' sheets are as like starched hard as they are.
Yeah.
Like that seems fucked up. Like we should treat the children better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
no,
but I
give you one.
They start hard.
Yeah, they have to, because the kids are terrible little monsters that spill everywhere. So you have to have like that extra level of like hardness to it, so the pee just
linoleum.
Right off.
It's not even that, right, Kevin? I sent you mine, which I'm sure obviously you expect for Greg, but it's the idea that, of course, that I did see this so many other people's houses, the real Ghostbusters blanket. But it's. Yeah, I think they're starch hard because they're going to go through hell and be destroyed anyway, right? Like they have to be durable. You're not looking for comfort. You're looking for mileage out of these things.
Well, they're also not 1,000 thread count, right? You're not giving your kids Egyptian cotton to spill their juice box on.
Sure.
These are like basically like the equivalent to a paper towel. You're going to throw it away eventually. I'm spitballing here, Brian. Does any of this sound correct to you, or is this?
No, this sounds totally correct. Greg, you had that Ghostbusters one too, right?
Yeah, that's why I was. Yeah.
Am I crazy? Did the pillow was glow in the dark, right?
Glue in the dark. Yeah, glow in the dark. Glow in the dark. Yeah.
I feel like
I had it through college. It finally gave out to me on college. Kevin, there's one with the actual
this Ninja Turtle one for sure.
Believe it or not, Nick wasn't getting laid in college.
Yeah, I was gonna say how'd that go over with your sexual escapades in college?
Well, when there was nobody coming over, it was fine.
Wow.
My dorm, I used Superman the animated series sheets.
God, that's great.
I was cool,
beautiful
crazy,
creature.
Andy.
I'm just trying to look for other ones. That
I'm wondering how bad it was for us to just like breathe in glow in the dark paint off the back of a naked ghost for like 5 years.
Drooling all over it, like just sucking on it, getting it exactly, just everywhere.
By the way, this is like one of those situations where I don't know if I'm glad I'm married or not, because I want all of these now. Yeah, and I feel like if I was single and we were having this conversation, I would be hard pressed not to order.
Add to cart.
But there's no way. Like, how do you guys think Dee would react if she came home and I replaced our nice bedding with Ghostbuster sheets that glow in the dark?
She'd do that one.
Fucking hilarious.
And then walk out of the house, walk out of the room.
I would never to be seen again.
I would chip in to crowdfund that video, because that sounds fucking hilarious.
God, that would be a great prank. My wife does not like pranks, but that would be great. Oh, she would just be like, huh. And then just, they're right. I wouldn't see her until she would somehow know when I replaced them with the original sheets, and then she'd come back. But
I think that like the deeper question is like, what is wrong with our brains that we see these things that are very clearly made for like a child's bed, and we're like, we want them for our big boy bed.
We need this. Yeah,
I think it's just the way we're very, very lucky that I think we all grew up and didn't give up on any of our passions and loves and just made them into, like, not our careers obviously, but I mean reality, right? Where it is like. To what Nick was talking about with toys, and like even for you, Brian, like looking at your shelves behind you stuff, and stuff for me of like, it's not lost on me when I have all these Superman Funkos in front of me, or when I buy a Ghostbuster incense trap or whatever, like that. Like I remember how hard it was to get any of this crap growing up, when it was like all there was the real Ghostbuster toys, so you bought it, and it was so, I remember freaking out that like the 7-Eleven had knockoff Ghostbuster cookies because the person who was baking them decorated them that way that day. Like they're the reason like I have this still Ecto 1A from Ghostbusters 2 that came with a roll of Fuji film that we did not have a camera that took it, but we bought it so I could get the damn Matchbox car, is because like they weren't making those. And now, of course, there's like there's a million of them. I had to stop buying stuff like that because there's so many of them all the time now.
What, is that the same one, Greg?
Yeah, I've never.
From your childhood?
Yeah. This is
Oh
been
shit!
with
I
me
never
since
knew that.
1989.
I thought it was just something
So
you got
cool.
recently in some
No,
sort
no,
of
no.
sponsored thing.
No,
That's
no.
cool.
No,
Yeah,
that's
I
awesome. No,
wonder
you're totally
if
right.
kids these days.
So harder. It was so harder back then.
I wonder if kids are going to have the same experience that I think a lot of us did, where it's like we had toys that we didn't even know what the fuck they were. It's like, why is there an anthropomorphic duck from God knows? It's not the Ninja Turtles one. It's like, I don't know what the hell this thing's from.
Yeah.
And it's just like kids these days, it's like
Shiny
they're
duck, right?
all the toys are straight up. It's Avengers or it's Ninja Turtles or it's Marvel or whatever. But like, I wonder if like garage sales or like random things like that are part of modern kiddom.
I don't know either. I mean, I know that like the best way for stuff like that to make it in is like with gifts. Like my dad got my kid a bunch of toys based on Peppa Pig and Bluey, which are two shows she's never seen. And so she just has she has like a car and a house and like 5 animals with like adult man legs, and just have no recollection of where they're from. She doesn't even really get them. Like she's just like, she knows like her Lion King toys and like she's got like Super Mario stuff and Winnie the Pooh, but like she doesn't know anything about Bluey yet, and I haven't shown it to her, and I I'm sure it's great, but it's just super fucking weird that there's just a bunch of toys down there that just have just no connection to whatsoever.
How does she deal with that? Does when she's playing with the Lion King, is she like, oh, this one's Simba, but this Bluey guy, we name him Ralph?
Yeah, not even like
Tim, you're
man. Is this Ace Duck from Ninja Turtles?
Yeah,
this toy was so fucking awesome.
Is this what you're talking about?
So
Tim?
awesome.
No, I mean I had this. I said not the one from Ninja Turtles. There was another one that I was like, I to this day don't know what the fuck it's from.
I know exactly what you're talking about. With my toys, yeah, I had all the stuff that I wanted and bought, and then this weird like green robot dude whose like head went down and crunched on things, and I was like, I don't even know what show you're from. Like I know, you're here, and I'll write narratives around you of your kryptonite or whatever. But like,
you also,
whatever.
Greg, if you were into Ghostbusters as a kid, like that was a fucking treat, because Ghostbusters and Ninja Turtles were two of the toy lines to first just like really truly pop off and go crazy. Like Ghostbusters by like the 5th or 6th wave were like, they're like, Egon's in space and he's throwing up. Like shit like
exactly.
They
get him.
making all these...
You'd get them wet with hot or cold, with warm water, right? And it would put the slime on them, and then it would fade away as they got colder.
They would tell like ghosts. They had this purple ghost that was just like you squeezed his body and his eyeballs. Pop out of it. Such awesome toys. Such awesome toys. Totally. But I think I've told this story before. But like my neighbor gave me a Dengar action figure, and that was my first introduction to Star Wars toys. And so I thought he was like, oh, that's awesome.
The Ghost Popper. And that's the other thing of like we were talking about, right? Is that we all grew up and took over. So all the shit we had as kids, they are now remaking and selling to us again.
That rules. Oh, I had that thing.
Now that we have income.
Yeah, right.
I thought Dengar was like one of the main characters in Star Wars, and it said
that's
he's like
so funny.
A dude that stands there for like 3 seconds in Empire Strikes Back.
So we're a bunch of semi-creative at the very least. 30-year-old men ish.
Brian's very creative. Brian's very creative.
Well, I'm saying, like,
I'll take semi.
At least some of us are semi. Like I'm like whatever, but then we have more talented people above me. But at the very least, we're creative.
Everyone
Do you guys think that we could have fun in the same way we did being little kids playing with our toys? If there's no camera on us, you're by yourself in a room, pour a bunch of action figures in front of you, and it's just kind of like you need to entertain yourself for, let's go, an hour, because kids could never go longer than that anyways. And it's you need to just come up with a story and just play and like dumbass shit. Like, do you think you'd actually be able to have fun and just role play yourself as a 7-year-old?
So a couple months ago, I did a sponsored shoot for Jazzwares. They make a bunch of like Halo action figures, and they're awesome. And they sent me a box of them, and I shoot like, now that we're working from home, I shoot all my like own sort of like product and toy B-roll and all that stuff, like set up the lighting and the mounts and everything. And there's like a sort of like a little yard in the backyard that has like sort of like a weird like kind of cliff face on it,
slope to it.
Yeah, and I went out there and I just like set up Halo toys for like an hour, like the way they used to do in like, remember like watching like 80s and 90s action commercials? Yeah, and these kids would be in these elaborate,
they had like jungle sets and shit for them built into the side of their wall. Yeah.
And I would be like in my living room.
Was there an old stand-up that made fun of those scenarios?
Oh, I'm sure.
Probably, yeah.
Because I swear there must have been, because I think my uncle and my dad, I have this one weird memory of watching one of these commercials where they are in this elaborate forest-scape or whatever, or they're these kids are playing and they're like in the fucking desert with like cool sandstorms and shit. And I remember them saying like, yeah, but it never looks like that on TV. And I could have sworn they were referencing some comedian or whatever. But yeah, that was always the bummer of like, I can't replicate this unless I take the underwater Lego sets, bring them in the bathtub.
Oh, those were awesome. I believe there was a documentary in the 90s called As Seen on TV or something like that, where they got into that, like sort of action figure photography and backyard commercial shoots, where like they basically for years lied to kids and implied that like these toys could like shoot lasers and like, you could have them like fly in on zip lines and stuff like that. And it didn't come with any of that stuff. But yeah, so I went in the back and I set up like Halo toys for like an hour. I'm not even like a big Halo guy. And I shot all this footage and I sent it to my producer and he used none of it. It was just like,
well, thanks. Great use of my time.
So I basically, my neighbors just saw like this like 40-year-old man poking around like with toys and then taking pictures. And then I bring it all inside and they're just like, oh yeah, we didn't use any of that. And I was like, oh. But what I'm saying, Tim, is yes, it can be done.
Yes.
I definitely think I could. And I know I'm whatever, I'm me and I have all the Funko Pops here, but it's like, I think about that all the time I'll never forget in high school bringing my first girlfriend home and like showing her, not like in a weird way, but like because I'm a high schooler kid, but like showing her around my house in my room and be like, yeah, this is that, and that's where I have my comics, and here's my thing of action figures, and I shut it, and she's like, wait, can we go back a second? And I was like, what? She's like, you still have a drawer of action figures? I was like, I play these fucking things all the time. I buy, and it was just like, it's one of the reasons I think, the sandbox video game and the ability to go anywhere and do anything works so well for me, or something like even Avengers or DC Universe Online, because it is that taking that digitally and not having all that crap around, but having the same idea of like, I'm going off on this adventure and this is what's happening in it.
I've never thought about Grand Theft Auto 3 and the way I would play with my Ninja Turtles. Like as the same
but does
thing,
it make sense?
Wow,
yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. And I think that was
right.
like one of those reasons why that took off and why it's like, oh no, it's so easy to explain Minecraft to a parent, right? Because what do you want to do? And it's Legos in a video game. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Andy, you were about to say something?
I wish I could, Tim, but I think the last time that I remember ever still having that childlike, feeling with toys was, I think maybe some Star Wars kits that I might have had on speeder bikes, or either that Star Wars kit or having like, I had these dolls that were in my bed, but I role played them as wrestlers because I was really into WWF.
Sure.
And so I created storylines with them before I'd go to bed every night. And I feel like that's the last time that I ever really played with toys. And then trying to get into it a couple of years after that, maybe when I was around 15, 16, having the same question you have now, Tim. Can I muster that sort of childlike, wonder, And it's just like, no, I like building these ships, and I love having a cool looking sci-fi thing that I can build from scratch in Lego, but I'll never be able to put a character in there and have him be the main character of this story that I'm making up in my head. And here's his teammate and the bad guys over there, and make the Star Wars sound effects.
You gotta do the
can't
noises.
Do that
Give
anymore.
it a shot, man. You could do it. You could do it.
Can't do it.
I believe in you, man. Just do it as Randy Newman. It's a little more, an extra level of role playing.
Chad, here comes Dengar.
I will say there's definitely like there's kind of like a weird stigma with toys compared to like some of the other parts of sort of like nerd fandom and stuff. Like I think it's like they're sometimes looked down upon by people who are like, yeah, I like comic book movies and I like video games and stuff like that. And I'm like, I collect action figures, and they're like, you baby. Like, where did I lose you? That's not fair.
I'll never forget my dad was like the keeper of all things of our youth. My mom would have thrown it all away, but God bless my dad. And he saved all of our G.I. Joe, Star Wars, and Transformer toys. But he didn't know what went with what. So one day he was like, hey, I've been like just kind of consolidating everything. And I was like, okay. I look, and it's just, this is such a fucking dad thing to do. It was like 4 Tupperwares full of toys. He grouped them by what he thought they all went together with, which was totally wrong. But then he didn't know where all the weapons went, so he put those in separate Tupperwares. So like one of the things that I've always wanted to do, but I'm like, I don't have the time for this, and I don't think my wife doesn't really want all these toys in the apartment anyway. But I want to go back and undo them all, and like Tim, I would spend hours just putting the what weapon went with which GI Joe. I think I could absolutely do that. I don't know if I would create a narrative in my head for it, but I still, even to this day, when I pick up toys, like when we were taking stuff down from the studio, and I interact with it like an action figure, I just get that same excitement of like, this is the coolest fucking thing anyone's ever made, and this is like touching a piece of the actual show or the actual movie.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the lamest things I've ever done in my entire life, and I did this a lot and had so much fun, so I have absolutely no regrets, is I didn't have a computer growing up, but I did get Mario Paint on the Super Nintendo, which was essentially Microsoft Paint or Kid Pix or whatever the fuck people had. But on the Super Nintendo, there was actual mouse and stuff that you could use. And I loved just like drawing people, like drawing characters and all the shit on the screen. And then I would like treat them like action figures and take the eraser and act like they were getting wiped out or like things were happening and like just keep adding on top of the art. And I'm like, I'm just sitting here playing with a paint application, making stories that like what the fuck was I thinking? But kids are weird, man. Like I loved that.
I'll never forget. Oh, go ahead, Brian.
No, I was just gonna say, Tim, that there's like a part of that is why you are where you are today. Like that, I believe in like creative applications like that, even when they're stupid and they have a fly swatting mini game. Like,
oh god, Nat Attack, baby, I loved it.
I'll never forget this one. I was a subscriber to Lego magazine as a kid.
Nice.
And I'll never forget this interview with Jake Lloyd when episode 1 was coming out, Anakin Skywalker. And he mentioned, I love these Star Wars Legos because you can pretend the ships are getting destroyed and have the wing pop off. I was like, oh my God, you're a genius, Jake Lloyd. and so I have like my Naboo starfighter, and like it is the coolest thing to be having these ship fights, and then suddenly part of the wing is off and I'm pretending that there's damage and it's having trouble flying, and it just adds to sort of the storytelling aspect of it. But goddamn, like there was no better time for me than Star Wars Legos. Like I was always a Lego fan before that, right? But it was Star Wars Legos that really took it to the next level for me, where I was already such a big fan of anything sci-fi, anything with ships. I was already a big Star Wars fan as a kid, so it was just a totally new world for me. Going from random sets or just the big variety box that just had a shitload of stuff that you would make things on your own with.
Sure.
Yeah. But then having those really cool pieces that you could take the Star Wars pieces and add them to your own kits because they were kind of more custom and cool and sharp looking. You weren't just using random blocks. That was the coolest.
I think the only thing I don't like about Star Wars Legos, and it's the only thing because I think they're fucking amazing, is that it feels like it was an excuse for them to sort of sunset their space line. Like they're generic like space Legos.
Yeah.
So fucking cool. Like,
but also like though, Brian, like you're right. But that is nostalgia speaking, because like if you were to look back at them, it's like, why would anyone ever choose those over the like why would you choose that over an X-Wing? It's stupid.
It's like a moon car with like a green windshield. Yeah, no, I'm totally.
No, the windshields were the coolest, Brian. The green windshields.
The green windshields were fantastic.
The underwater ones had the green windshields. Before we wrapped up the show, I had been concocting some new sort of holidays that we can celebrate in the vein of March 10th, meaning Mario, making up the word Mario. So January 15th, you could celebrate your friend Janice.
Okay.
November 10th, November 14th, you could celebrate boyfriend and girlfriend in Spanish because novio and novia.
Oh,
okay. The Janice thing is weird because it's spelled like penis.
Right, yeah, for sure. It's definitely not spelled CE, but it's just kind of
we're vibing, we're getting some stuff out there.
March 13th, your friend Marie. Talk about celebrate your friend Marie. Maybe buy her cake or something. This was a little bit more difficult right here. On March 2nd, on March 28th at 4:12, either AM or PM, you celebrate Mars bars because it's March 2nd is like MARZ, and then 8 is the B, 4 is the A, and then 1, 2 makes an R. So it makes bar right there.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a walk.
May 35th, which isn't a real date, but let's just pretend it's May 35th. You could celebrate telling your mother yes, ma, yes, M-A and then Y-E-S.
Oh my God.
Let's see here. September 14th, celebrate sa&sfac&on Day.
Oh, that's a fun one.
Thank you,
That's a
Nick.
good one. I like that.
Maybe post some photos with cool filters and things like that. July 10th, your friend Julio, and July 13th, your friend
That's
Julie.
a great one. I'm a big fan of Julio and Julie.
Julio and Julie. 10th
You lost
and
me
13th.
for at least 5 or 6 minutes there, but Julio and Julie.
Maybe I could bring this one back.
Okay.
Create problems for yourself on April 8th. A prob.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Kind of Funny podcast. Each and every week, twice a week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on these microphones, each coming to bullshit with each other about whatever it is they want to bullshit about. If you like that bullshit, you can head over to patreon.com/kindoffunny, where right now you can go to get the post show we are about to do. Of course, over there, you can also ask questions to be part of the show. You could be watching live, just like Cameron is, Moko Shona is, Sid Nader is. Of course, that's all happening. Patreon.com/kindoffunny. You get a bunch of other shows and a bunch of other perks there too. Nick's getting ready to do his Q&A for the month right now. So there's a whole bunch of stuff happening. However, if you have no bucks tossed away, it's no big deal. You can watch the show on youtube.com/kindoffunny, Rooster Teeth and podcast services around the globe. Brian Altano, you still have a post show to do with us, but if they aren't coming with us, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a blast. And remember, dinosaurs do not have feathers except for that one, but that's because he was married to a bird.
Exactly, yeah. I'm sorry. I feel bad that cousin Julie was duped. You know what I mean? She's part of the big duping dinosaur conspiracy. But I'll make sure my dad talks to her mom and we'll get it sorted out.
Part of the big feather.
Big feather. You hate to see it. These down comforter people's trying to get it everywhere. You know what I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, we got a post show to do. But until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.